Hi everyone, it's Nicole with Chronicles of a Crafter. Welcome back. I started to make this this little notepad using up some 6x6 paper, and then I just decided to turn my camera on and do it on camera for you guys. So I have no prototype to show you. I'm just going to go ahead and just do it on camera. I got this idea from Natasia from Treasure Books, and she pretty much did something similar. So what I'm gonna do right now is show you what I have started with. So this is 4 sheets of 6x6 paper. It's just some paper that it was a 12x12 that I cut into 4, and this is what I have left. So what I'm gonna do is take my 4 sheets of 6x6 and I'm going to number them. This way you have an idea of what you're working with. So this will be my 4th page. It's double-sided cardstock, so there's an image on both sides. I'm just going to take a sticky note and stick the numbers on the page as they are. So let me find a sticky note. Actually, I'll just write it in pencil because I can't find a sticky note right now. On the back side of the page, I'll just write the number 4 here. And this one will be my number 3. And I'll just erase those later on, or if I cover them up with something in the process of creating the booklet. So it's important to get the right orientation because this paper has writing on it and the writing is facing upwards. It's important to get the orientation correct. So of course I put my number 3 in the wrong corner. I'll just write it up here. There's my orientation facing up. This will be my 2nd page. Now this will be my 2nd page. So again, the writing is facing upwards. So I'll just write number 2 in that upper corner. And I'll erase those numbers later, like I said, or cover them up with something in the process of making this little book. And this will be my front page, and I'll number this number 1. So to start this project, we're going to start with the 4th page. So 1, 2, 3. We're going to start with number 4. And what I've done so far is just taken some coffee dyed paper, 3 sheets of coffee dyed paper. It was a full sheet like so, and I just went ahead and cut it down to 4 3/4 of an inch, and then cut off the excess. So there was a sheet of, is this blurry? Okay, there we go. There's a sheet of 8.5 by 11. So I cut off the upper portion at 4 3/4. So, and then I cut off the excess on this end right here to relieve the sides of the booklet. And then I'm going to take my 6 sheets of paper and I'm just going to go ahead and stitch them into this 4th sheet of cardstock straight down the edge right here. And I'll go ahead and do that and come back. And of course, as crazy as it is, I'm not the world's best sewer, but I backstitch on both ends to make sure none of my threads ravel out. And I'm just going to go ahead and cut off these excess threads. And that's it. I have this little booklet now stitched into my back cover of this notepad. Again, this is my page number 4. Alright, I'm just going to go ahead and set this aside. And I'm going to go ahead and go to my page number 2. This is page 2. And I'm going to take the excess pages that I had cut off on the edge of my 8.5 by 11. I'm going to split them into 2. And now I have 2 sets of 3 8.5 by 11 pages. The excess that was cut off from this notepad, I'm just going to go ahead and stitch across the top here to secure these pages to my page number 2. Can you see that? Page number 2. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and stitch those in, and I'll be right back. And there you have it. I'm only using black thread so that you can see what I'm doing. But there you have it. I've stitched across the top with a straight stitch, and now I'm going to go ahead and just cut off my excess thread on the sides. I've back stitched on both corners to make sure nothing ravels out. So that is my page number 2. For page number 3, I'm going to go ahead and set page 2 aside. For page number 3, I'm going to go ahead and put in a little pocket down here. And what I've done was I found some coordinating paper to match this cardstock paper. This is a single-sided cardstock. I'm just going to go ahead and put a little pocket down right there. And I'm going to use my oval scalloped hole punch. It makes a nice pocket thumb notch without, you know, it just gives it a little bit of interest, a little bit of detail, other than just a round thumb notch. And that's what it looks like. I'm going to go ahead and ink this with my walnut stain distress ink. It's one of the darker of the browns in the Ranger Tim Holtz distress inks. So I'm just going to go ahead and ink that little scalloped thumb notch so you can see that there is a pocket there. I'll just ink all the way around. And I'm just going to glue this down. There'll be no stitching involved in this pocket. And that's how that'll look. Okay. What glue am I going to use? I'm going to use my Fabrifix glue. I think it'll hold quickly. And it's fabric to fabric, paper to paper, fabric to paper. So I'm just going to glue a little edge here, along the edge here. And then down the side here. I'm sorry if it's not focusing very well, but I'm trying out my new camera setup because my phone does not want to cooperate, and I'm just gluing on my blue silicone mat so that keeps my cutting mat clean. Okay, so that's page number 3, and you'll know what size paper to cut just based on however high you want the pocket to be, and you know, keep it on the inside of the paper, of the 6x6 paper. Okay, and now I have page number 1. Let's see what we're going to do with page number 1. I am going to glue on this little pocket like so, coordinating paper with this. I cut it 6x6, but well, 6x4 and 3/4, but I'm gonna have to cut off a little edge here because if you notice that it's overhanging. So I'm just gonna grab my mini chomper, my small paper guillotine, and I'm gonna cut off about 1/4 inch is what's hanging over there. And there you have it. And that fits nicely on this page. Of course, it's going to go on the back side of page 1. What you're going to do is hold your paper facing upwards and then flip it up like so. And I'm probably going to glue this down here just so that I don't have any stitch marks on the front cover. again, I'm using my Fabrifix glue. Once it's down, it dries pretty quickly. And again, you're going to hold your paper in the right orientation and then flip it upwards. I'll give that a moment to focus, and this is where I'm going to glue this pocket. Probably going to glue it about there. Okay, so that's my glued in pocket. Forgot to ink the thumb notch, so I'll do that right now real quickly. Okay, and there we have that. And again, I have another one that I also cut just off the edge. I'm going to go ahead and cut off 1/4 inch on this end as well, and then glue it down to page number 2. Sorry about that. Okay, if you remember, page number 2 is the one that I stitched across the top. I'm going to go ahead and remove my paper clips. And again, I'm going to hold the page in the upright orientation and then just flip it up. So here's page number 1. This will be page number 2. And actually, I think I want 1, 2, 3. I think I want my scallop pocket on page 3. So it'll be the back side of this scallop pocket. Flip your page upwards, and this is where I want to glue my page, my pocket. I'm going to go ahead and ink this pocket as well so I don't forget. Do it now. Yeah. And again, I'm using my Fabrifix glue. I'm just going to glue the 3 sides. I have a little bit of excess along the edges, so I'm just going to wipe that off, get a nice clean edge, and adhere my pocket, covering up that number 3 that I wrote in with a pencil. And there we have that. Now on the back side of page number 2, this is the one with the 2 notepads that I stitched in. On the back side of page 2, I'm going to go ahead and put a belly band in. This is just the top portion of my 12 by 12 paper that I just, you know, it's perforated at the top. I don't want to waste anything, so I'm just going to go ahead and put that down as a belly band. So I'm going to cut just enough off. Yeah, I think that'll work. So I'm gonna use my Fabrifix glue and just glue the sides down, the right and the left side. I'm not gonna glue the long strip down below. I'm just gonna glue the two sides. And I'm gonna find somewhere in the middle of the 6x6, just guesstimating. And these have little dotted X's and O's, or little X's, I believe. So, and they're in a line. So I just make sure that I line up my belly band on one of those lines. Make your paper work for you, you know, like whatever patterns that are on there. If you don't have the ability to you know, mark every section or measure every piece of paper that you want to add to your project, you can make the paper work for you. There's this pattern paper here, and I'm just going to make the lines of the belly band line up with the pattern. Okay, so here's page 2. Here's my page 1. My page 3 with the pocket on both sides. Probably could have got that pocket a little bit straighter, but it's okay. And my page 4. Okay. So here's 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, now I'm gonna take my little notepad here, and because I want my orientation to flip upwards, I'm gonna go ahead and score my first page at about 1/4 of an inch from the top. You can see that. Okay. Here's my scoreboard. I want it scored across the top here. So I'm just going to place this is the top. I'm going to rotate it to the left so that I can get it scored at about 1/4 of an inch. Okay. So then I'm just going to fold that across like so. And actually, I think 1/4 of an inch may be a little bit too small. Let's see, maybe I'll do 1/2 an inch. And I'll tell you why in a moment. And to fix that error that I made with my scoreboard where I scored at 1/4 of an inch, I'm just going to take my page and just bone fold that 1/4 of an inch score line out, and it should be fine. It'll go away. Enough. Yeah, I think 1/2 an inch is good because I'm going to go ahead and put in some eyelets. And I need enough room for my eyelet to sit on this line here. So I'm just going to go ahead and bone fold this 1/2 inch score mark that I made. And there's my number 1. It's showing. So I'm just going to go ahead and erase it. And that should get me a nice size eyelet to go through there. So then I'm going to take my first page, page 1, place it on top of my page 2, rotate it to the left, fold over my page 1 and hold it there. And then I'm just going to take my page 2 and fold it upwards towards the page 1. This gives it a nice natural fold because when your pages are in a booklet, they don't fold all at the same mark, and I can't score 1/2 inch on all of my cards, because then they don't naturally fold all at this in the same spot. So I'm just going to go ahead and press that together. But when it's open, it's even. However, when you flip the book up, it becomes uneven on the sides. I'm going to do the same thing for my page 3. I'm just going to place it in line with pages 1 and 2. Rotate it to the left. My orientation of the words are facing upward. There's my page 2. It folds nice and evenly. And then I'm just going to take my page 3 and press it against the pages 1 and 2. And same goes for page 4. It gives it a much more natural fold, and your pages will lay flat by doing this when you flip it open. So now I'm going to go ahead and take my crocodile. I'm going to use my big bite, only because I don't know where my little crocodile is located right now. So I'm just going to go ahead and use my big bite. And what you want to do is find the center of your page, and then about a 1/2 inch on each side you want to go ahead and mark. So we're going to mark at 1/2 inch, and actually I'm going to use that first 1/4 of an inch score line that I made as my guide, as the center between the top and the bottom of the score line. So I'm going to score at 1/2 inch. This is a 6 by 6, so I'm going to score at 3, and then I'm going to score at 5 1/2. Okay. And what I'm going to do is try to get all 4 pages punched at the same time. This would help so that I get the same hole for my eyelet. And this is my crocodile. I'm going to use the 3/16, and I'm going to punch at the 1/2 inch mark that I made. I don't know if you can see that. So I'll move it over some. There's my 1/2 inch. Here is the 3 inch. This is dead in the center of the booklet. And then here's the 1/2 inch on the other side. So now I have
power off.
That was my Bluetooth. Now I have 3 holes so that I can put my eyelets through, and I'm going to use this antique brush nickel, or a brushed antique bronzy color for this booklet. .3/16, my goodness. Get in your hole. Let me try I'm going to try to widen these holes with my awl just a little bit, because for some reason my eyelets does not want to go through. So let's just go ahead and try it now. I just widened the holes with the awl, and that worked. Now that's through, and that's through. These eyelets don't want to play. And I'm going to widen this one and pass the eyelet through. Ow. My goodness. Why is this giving me such a hard time? Go through. Okay. So now all three of my eyelets are through. I'm going to find their backings and give it a good squeeze with the crocodile. Not even their backings want to fit. Oh my goodness. Okay, so I'm going to move my crocodile to the front. That's where the eyelet squasher is located. And I'm just going to give it a good squeeze. And there you have it. And I'm going to do the same thing for the other two holes. These things can be a little tricky. I mean, you almost have to like convince it to work out for you. Okay, there's my second hole, and then my third eyelet is going to get punched punched right in the face if it doesn't stay on. Okay, yep, got all three of them through. And just for decoration purposes, I'm going to thread some baker's twine through here. Let's see. Because my inside pages have this pretty orange rose, I'm going to go ahead and use some orange baker's twine. Move my crocodile out of the way, and let's see if we can find the end. So what you want to do is get about 3 times the width of the booklet that you're making. So there's 1, there's 2, and there's 3. I'm going to go ahead, just give it a little tug and cut that off. And because I'm using eyelets and baker's twine, which is really thick, I'm going to go through the back side. This is my 3-hole pamphlet stitch. Come down the front. Actually, I'm going to go out the back. Come out the front from the left. Pull it all the way through. Go across the top to the right hole, and then come back through the middle. Get in there. It's so particular, like baker's twine. There we go. Now what makes this a secure pamphlet stitch is that you have to get 1 thread on one side of the center thread, the one that went across the whole top part, and 1 thread on the bottom side of it. So once you do that, you can then tie it in a box knot, and it's secure. There's one. Right over left, left over right. And then you can tie it in a bow. I like to tie my bows in a knot after. This way I know for sure this bow is never coming out, and my pages will stay secure. There's my bow. I'm just going to go ahead and snip the excess off at the bottom there. And now for my pockets here, what I'm going to use, oh nice. What I'm going to use is, I have some ready-made cards here. These are just some excess, I believe these were packaging, like packaging labels that I cut up. I don't think this was cardstock at all. This was probably just some packaging labels from something that I opened. And as a matter of fact, what I'm going to do is punch some eyelets through here, and they will tuck into these pockets like so. I can even tuck one into the belly band like that. Or I have another, this is definitely packaging, there's no question about it. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take some gesso and gesso the back here and make this into a journaling card. So here's my white gesso. I'm just going to take a little bit and place it on the back. This gives you plenty of room to journal. And you can write on gesso, so I kind of like the frame that the card automatically comes with. So just a couple of coats of gesso should give you a nice white background to write on. That's not me breathing, by the way. That's my dog. He's completely asleep and snoring in the corner. Okay, I'll let that dry and then I'll give it a second coat, and then we'll cut off the edges and turn it into a nice journaling card or pocket tuck for this little booklet. And set that aside and let it dry. So this is my little snoring monster. I don't know, can you see him? Say hi, Dolce. Dolce, say hello. Say hi. Yeah, he was over there sleeping in the corner and I woke him up. Alright, I'll let you go back to sleep, okay? Put that tongue in your mouth. Put that tongue in. Okay, so I'm about to add I just let my my card dry a little. I'm about to add my second coat, and I'm going to do this with my finger because it smooths out any of the brush strokes. So I'm just going to use my finger to add the second, this is probably my third coat, onto this card, this journaling card that I'm making. And then I'm going to let that dry for a few. Or I can just use my blow dryer, my heat dryer. Let me get a baby wipes and get this off my finger, and then I will heat dry the rest of this journaling card so that I can then cut it on the angles that it needs to be cut. So I'm sorry for the noise, but here we go. Okay, I'll let the rest of that dry on its own. I'm just going to clean up some of the edges here and get rid of these lumpy bumpies of gesso. And then I'm going to use my, this is just a card that I use to cut corners in order to make sure that all corners are the same size. I'm just going to use these scissors here. These are not the right scissors to use for this. Nice. Look at the mess I made. I guess I should have let it dry some more. Just smooth that out. Yeah, I'm just going to let it dry a little bit more. Clean up my map. And you can do this a number of ways. I just take an old card and cut it in on different angles. As you can see, this was probably cut from here. So yeah, I just cut it on different angles, and what you can do is either take your the piece that you've cut off and then just rotate it and place it on the opposite angle, so to make sure that you get the same size or angle cuts. Or you can just make one out of an old gift card or old credit card that you're no longer using. I'm not sure where I learned this trick. I believe maybe Julie from Cameo Crafts. Yeah, I would say it's from her. I think she was the first person I've seen do it. And then I've also seen Miss Paints a Lot also with a card, something similar. So there you have a perfect journaling tag. Again, this was just packaging from something that I purchased. So yeah, again, I'm gonna let this dry, and then I'm gonna put an eyelet at the top, and this is plenty of journaling space for you to write in this little booklet. So here, this is where I would tuck it, in that pocket right there. Alright, I'm gonna let that dry, and let me see, what else did I want to show you guys? I think that's it, really. So yeah, basically this is what we got. It's a 6x6 pad, and I've 3-hole pamphlet stitched it with some baker's twine, and you'll see why it's orange when I flip it over. This beautiful paper on the inside with some orange and pink roses, a little bit of green to go with the green butterfly on the front cover. Here's some more journaling space, some coffee dyed note pages, and here are some additional cards that I've stuck into a little belly band that I've made, also with some coordinating paper. And then there's this pocket down below with some more cards, and you know, another tuck space for additional writing. And then you flip it over, and here we have another pocket. Again, I'll be making a second card like so, and that'll tuck into this pocket here. And then we have a large notepad down here at the bottom for additional writing space. So there's a lot of things that you can do with a 6x6 pad. I just wanted to give you a little bit of inspiration. I'll more than likely do a little bit of a collage here on the front cover. Yeah. So here's some other 6x6 pages that I was going to use. This is some music paper, which I don't think there's a right way or a wrong way unless you actually know which note you're playing, but I would think that the rose would go at the bottom. And then I also have this one, another rose page with some writing on it. So you really have to look at the orientation of the writing to determine which way the notepad's gonna go. So like this one has the roses at the top, this one has them over on the right, this one has them over on the left, and then I wanted to use this one as the front cover because it's the darkest of all of them. Anyway, so I'll be making some more of these, and I hope you enjoy your day, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye!